I always thought turning 18 would feel like unlocking a new level of life, like finally getting the keys to adulthood. But when my birthday morning came, I didn't get keys. I got a hefty trash bag filled with my clothes and a line delivery so cold it could have won an Oscar for Best Performance in Ruining a Childhood. Time to survive on your own, my mom said, like she was kicking off a reality show. No cake. No card. Just a trash bag and an eviction notice disguised as life advice. I stood there in the doorway of our 2-bedroom rental in Columbus, Ohio, holding that bag like I was carrying radioactive guilt. My clothes were wrinkled, stuffed in without folding, and a pair of boxers dangled from the top like a white flag of surrender. You're a man now, she added. We all gotta struggle. I did. Sure, Mom. Except you had 3 kids, 2 exes, and a Netflix subscription on my student email. I had a community college rejection letter, no job, and $47.32 in my bank account, which, by the way, she helped herself to, for groceries, the week before. We still hadn't seen those groceries. The truth is, I wasn't even surprised. Disappointed, yeah. Angry, absolutely. But surprised? Not even a little. See, growing up in our house meant one thing: don't expect too much. Not on holidays, not on school picture day, and definitely not on your birthday. My older brother Devin got a car at 18. It was a rusty Toyota Corolla with 3 working doors, but still, it had wheels and dignity. My little sister, Alyssa, got a promise that things will be different with you. Me? I got a trash bag and a mom who smelled like iced coffee and self-pity. But if there's one thing I learned early, life doesn't come with cushions. And if you fall, nobody's rushing in with pillows. I didn't cry. Not in front of her. I stuffed the bag into the back of my friend Joey's car and buckled in like I was riding shotgun to my own downfall. Dude, are you sure this is happening? He asked, eyes flicking from the rearview mirror to my lap where I clutched a bag of chips like it was all I had left. Yup, I said. It's my surprise party. We laughed. A sharp, hollow kind of laugh, the kind that people mistake for strength but is really just emotional duct tape. Joey's mom let me crash on their couch for a couple nights. She made pancakes. Real ones, not the microwaved frozen kind. I hadn't realized until that morning how much it meant to be asked. Do you want syrup? Like my opinion mattered. But a couch isn't a life plan. So I did what any kid with nothing but pride and spite does. I hustled. First job? Dishwasher at Rico's Diner. I reeked of grease and despair, but I showed up every day. I saved up enough to rent a room in a house with 4 guys who thought laundry was a conspiracy. But it was mine. My rent. My space. Nights, I bussed tables. Weekends, I walked dogs for cash. I learned how to make $1 stretch until it begged for mercy. And still, I texted my mom once. Hey, can we talk sometime soon? Her reply came 2 days later. You're grown now. I don't owe you anything. So I stopped texting. I stopped hoping. And every time I doubted myself, every time the heater broke, or I had to eat cereal with water, I replayed her words like a cruel little mantra. Time to survive on your own. So I did. People talk about their glow-up years like it's some kind of montage. Mine didn't have mood lighting or gym selfies. It was grease-stained uniforms, 14-hour shifts, and crying in supply closets when no one was around. But little by little, I built something. By 21, I'd worked my way up from dishwasher to kitchen manager. Rico, the diner owner, had a bad back and worse bookkeeping. I learned how to do both, flip pancakes and balance spreadsheets. I didn't go to college, but I got my education in late-night inventory counts and Sunday morning chaos. I moved out of the house with the human sock pile roommates and into a small studio. It had peeling paint and a faucet that sounded like it smoked a pack a day, but it was mine. No shared fridge with mystery containers. No mom randomly appearing and asking if I could lend her $20 for cigarettes. And I still remembered every word she said the day she kicked me out. Every syllable replayed like background music whenever life got hard. You're a man now. Time to survive. Okay. So I survived. Then I started living. Around 25, something weird happened. Rico asked if I wanted to buy in. Half the staff quit that week. Something about a mass quitting to join a vegan food truck cult, don't ask. Rico panicked, and I saw a window. I pulled every favor I had, maxed out my emergency fund, and said yes. That was the day I became co-owner of Rico's Diner. The next day, I found out. Co-owner meant I got to plunge toilets and negotiate with vendors who thought Net30 was a mythical creature. Still, it was mine. Business grew. Slowly. But consistently. And I got good at it. At people. At managing chaos with a smile and sending drunks out the door with coffee instead of cops. One morning, I found myself sitting in the break room with a cup of real coffee. No creamer because I was still cheap, and I just paused. I looked around at the staff chatting, a new delivery guy loading boxes, someone in the kitchen playing 90s R&B from a busted Bluetooth speaker, and it hit me. I made this. I made this without help. No loans. No trust fund. No emotional support text from mom saying, "Proud of you, kiddo." Just grit. And maybe spite. Spite's underrated, honestly. But here's where it gets weird. The more successful I got, the more my family resurfaced. First it was Alyssa, my little sister, who once told me to stop being so dramatic about being kicked out. She showed up at the diner one night with a date, and acted like it was a total coincidence. I played nice, served her table, and threw in a free dessert. "Oh my God," she said mid-bite. "You actually made something of yourself? Mom always said you had potential." I smiled. Said nothing. But in my head? Potential this, Alyssa. Then came the texts. Not from Mom. Not yet. Just distant cousins I hadn't heard from since I was the weird kid with hand-me-down shirts and no home address. "Yo, you still at that place? Can I get the family discount?" "No." "Wanna hang out sometime? We're in town." Still no. And slowly, I noticed a shift. I wasn't the cautionary tale anymore. I was the comeback story. The one they started mentioning at family events to show. We support all paths. You know, like the path they shoved me onto with a trash bag and a middle finger. But despite the rising success, I still felt something heavy in me. Something unaddressed. Because here's the thing, I didn't just want to succeed. I wanted to stop feeling like that kid again, the one on the porch, holding a trash bag, pretending it didn't hurt. I wanted peace. But peace doesn't come easy when the ghosts of your childhood still have your number. So I changed mine. Literally. New phone. New number. Same grind. Until one day, the past came texting. I was 33 when it happened. I remember because it was the week I finally got the front sign fixed at the diner, the old neon. Rico's had been flickering like a haunted motel for months. I was standing out front with my manager, Joe, debating whether to go with warm white or electric blue, when my phone buzzed. Blocked number. Normally, I'd ignore it. Most blocked numbers are either spam calls or awkward exes with a god complex. But something, maybe curiosity, maybe caffeine, made me swipe. It was a text. Just one sentence. "Can we stay with you for a while?" That was it. No greeting. No explanation. Just a punch to the chest in 11 words. I blinked. Read it again. Then another buzz came in, a photo attachment. It was a screenshot of a weather report. Heatwave warning. Highs of 104 degrees Fahrenheit all week. A third text. The AC in our building broke. Your sister said you have space. Your sister. She couldn't even type my name. I scrolled up, just to confirm I hadn't missed something. But no. That was the first message I'd gotten from my mother in over 15 years. No. Happy birthday. No. Proud of you. No. Sorry for the whole "here's a trash bag, go be homeless" thing. Just, "Can we stay with you?" I sat down on the curb, letting the sun fry my scalp while Joe argued with the sighing guy about font width. I stared at the message like it owed me rent. And suddenly, my brain did what brains do when they want to ruin your peace. It rewound. Back to 18. Back to that trash bag. Back to standing outside in the cold, while she shut the door and never once looked back. Back to nights I stared at ceilings wondering if I'd ever be more than disposable. And now? Now she wanted to sleep under my roof. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my photo album, scrolled all the way back, past food pics, staff birthdays, blurry concert photos, until I found it. A snapshot of a handwritten note on a torn receipt. My mom's handwriting. The message? Time to survive on your own. She left it on top of my bag the day she kicked me out. I took a picture with my flip phone before tossing it in the trash. For years I kept it like a scar I refused to let heal. Now, it felt like the perfect response. So I screenshotted the photo. Cropped it neatly. No caption. No context. And I sent it. Read receipt on. Seconds passed. Then the typing bubble popped up. Disappeared. Popped up again. Then nothing. I locked my phone and stood up, brushing dust off my jeans. Joe looked over. You good? Yeah, I said, slipping the phone into my pocket. Just a little heatwave from the past. Need a fan? Nah, I grinned. I'm cool now. She laughed, and we went back to arguing about the sign. But my head stayed somewhere else, spinning, worrying, piecing together what had just happened. Because I thought I'd feel triumph. Like slam dunk revenge. But honestly, I felt calm. Like a door that had been left open for too long had finally been shut. Still, the universe wasn't done with me. Because the next day, she showed up. At my diner. Wearing pearls. In July. I spotted her the second I stepped out of the walk-in fridge. There she was, standing in the middle of my diner like she was auditioning for a guest spot on Real Housewives of Regret. The outfit? Baby blue cardigan, cream pearls, pastel flats. Like she'd stepped off a brochure titled, How to Look Harmless While Delivering Lifelong Trauma. Joe was at the register, and clocked her immediately. She raised an eyebrow so high I thought it might levitate off her face. You good? She mouthed. I gave a slight nod. Then took a deep breath and walked toward the woman who once told me love wasn't unconditional, it was earned. Hi, sweetheart, my mom said, her voice sugary with undertones of manipulation. She held her fake leather purse like it contained something holy instead of probably just mints and old receipts. You're not here for the pancakes, I said flatly. Let's skip the prologue. She blinked. I just want to talk. No drama. You showed up in pearls, Mom. In July? It's already drama. A couple customers nearby stopped pretending not to listen. One guy rotated his chair like we were the entertainment portion of his brunch. She cleared her throat and lowered her voice. Look. That message, it came out wrong. I didn't know how else to ask. It's been a hard year. It's been a hard 15, I replied. Her lips tightened. Can't we just move forward? We're still family. There it was, the golden phrase. The guilt-coated boomerang she used any time things didn't go her way. We're family. You remember that now? I asked. Because last I checked, family doesn't hand you a trash bag on your birthday and call it character development. I thought you'd appreciate the push, she snapped, losing the fake sweet tone for just a moment. You've clearly done well for yourself. Yeah. After surviving the push, she pulled herself back into performance mode. I just thought maybe we could reconnect. Your sister's been saying how proud she is of you. Did she also tell you I blocked her last year? Or that she showed up here once with her MLM friends and tried to sell essential oils to my staff? That caught her off guard. She hesitated, then reached into her bag and pulled out a folded envelope. This is a letter. From me. And your father. Pass. You don't want to know what it says? I don't need a literary apology, I said. I needed a place to sleep when I was 18. A long pause. Even the kitchen quieted down. The sizzle of bacon stopped. Time practically held its breath. You think I don't regret things? She said, voice soft now. You think I don't look at the way things went and wish they were different? Sure, I said. I think you regret that your son grew up without you, and turned out fine anyway. Her mouth opened. Closed. She tried again. Maybe I didn't do everything right. But I was doing my best. Mom, your best was weaponized neglect. I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. But she flinched like I had. I'm not here to fight, she said quietly. No, I said, standing straighter. You're here because it's hot, your AC broke, and you thought the kid with the trash bag might offer you a guest room. Her face dropped. We're not the same people anymore, I added. And I'm not a scared teenager trying to make you love me. I'm a grown man with a business, a home, and a damn good life. One that didn't require your approval. The silence between us stretched so long, I started counting the buzz of the overhead lights. Finally, she slipped the envelope back in her bag. Just think about it. I did, I said. For 15 years. Then she walked out, pearls bouncing, steps stiff, like even her shoes were offended. Joe appeared beside me 5 seconds later, holding a coffee pot like it might come in handy. You want me to chase her down and throw toast at her? Nah, I said. She's already carrying enough baggage. And with that, I turned back toward the kitchen. Because lunch wasn't going to serve itself. But karma? Karma was always ready. I almost forgot about the envelope. Almost. After that confrontation, life snapped right back into its usual chaos. The fryer caught fire for a whole 5 seconds, shout out to Randy's ongoing war with oil temperatures. Our new delivery guy accidentally sent a shipment of ketchup to the nail salon next door, and Joe tried to convince me we needed disco lights in the bathroom. For ambience. So yeah, I didn't exactly have time to sit around contemplating heartfelt mother-son reconciliation arcs. But the envelope? It sat there in the back of my head like a blinking notification you refuse to open, hoping it'll go away. Spoiler, it doesn't. Eventually, I gave in. One slow afternoon, I opened a lost and found drawer sandwiched between a single flip-flop and someone's vape pen, and there it was. The envelope. Cream-colored. Generic. Like something you'd get with a sympathy bouquet from someone who forgot your name. I sat down in the office, took a deep breath, and opened it like I was disarming an emotional landmine. It wasn't handwritten. It was printed. Typed. Calibri font. The official typeface of passive-aggressive family guilt. And here's what it said. Dear Caleb. We hope you'll read this with an open heart. We know things didn't happen the way they should have. We all made choices, some harder than others. Life is never black and white, and we hope you understand that what we did was never out of hatred, but out of desperation. You were strong. You survived. And while we may not have said it enough, we are proud of you. Genuinely. Right now, we're going through a rough time. With the heat wave and your father's medical bills, things have become complicated. We'd like to ask if you have room, just for a short time. A few nights, maybe a week. We miss you. And love you. Deeply. Love. Mom and Dad. At first, I sat there blinking like I'd read a ransom note written by someone who minored in gaslighting. A few nights? A week? Medical bills? They hadn't said a word in 15 years, and suddenly I'm the front desk at the Marriott? Also, my dad? The same man who once told me, real men don't ask for help. The guy who used to turn up the volume on the TV when I'd try to talk? Yeah. That guy. But here's what really got me. The name. Caleb. My name isn't Caleb. It's Mason. I flipped the letter over. Checked the envelope. Blank. No address. No return label. Nothing. It hit me then. This letter wasn't written just for me. It was mass-produced. Like a newsletter from Dysfunctional Families Incorporated. They probably printed the same letter for Alyssa. Maybe Devin. Maybe some cousin in Indiana who made 6 figures and posted vacation pics on Facebook. It wasn't an apology. It was a fishing expedition. Let's see who bites kind of message. And I'm not a biter. I stood up, took one last look at the letter, then walked it straight to the back exit and dropped it in the dumpster. No dramatic rip. No bonfire. Just a clean drop into the place where all garbage belongs. Joe caught me on the way back in. So? Anything juicy? Just fiction, I said. Fantasy section. She grinned. Happy ending? Oh yeah? The hero throws the script in the trash and goes back to making payroll. That night, I sat in my apartment, quiet, lights dim, microwave dinner in hand, and thought about how far I'd come. And how far they hadn't. Then my phone buzzed again. Blocked number. New message. Can we at least talk? Alyssa says you're being dramatic. I laughed. Loudly. And then I replied. Wrong number. Blocked number. Again. I didn't answer. Because why would I? My boundaries weren't fuzzy. They were concrete, neon-lit, and surrounded by metaphorical barbed wire. But they weren't done. The next morning, Jo handed me her phone while I was elbow-deep in breakfast rush orders. Mason? Some lady called the diner line and asked for the owner. Said it was a family emergency. She's crying. I think she's also chewing something. I took the phone. Hello? Mason? Oh, thank God! It's Alyssa. My sister sobbed, and yep, confirmed, she was definitely chewing. Hey. Quick question, I said. Is this about a real emergency or a heatwave and a bruised ego? Silence. Then more chewing. Then, it's Mom. She collapsed at work. Ambulance came. Dad's freaking out. I paused. For the first time in this entire melodrama, my heart skipped. Collapsed? She's at County Hospital, Alyssa said. They wouldn't let me ride in the ambulance because of protocol. Can you come? I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just hung up. For about 20 seconds, I stood frozen in the kitchen, holding a ladle like it was going to give me answers. Did I believe her? Honestly, not really. But some part of me, some stupid, vestigial guilt muscle left over from childhood, flexed anyway. So I told Jo I needed an hour and drove across town. County Hospital looked the same as it did 15 years ago. That awful beige tile. The smell of antiseptic and sadness. The receptionist looked at me like I owed her an apology for existing. Then I found Alyssa in the waiting area, scrolling on her phone. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even misty-eyed. She was watching a TikTok with the sound off and snacking on a protein bar. I stood there, hands in my pockets, trying not to immediately regret the entire drive. Where's Mom? I asked. She looked up like I'd interrupted a TED Talk. Oh. She's not here yet. That was kind of exaggerated. Exaggerated? She fainted. Heat, stress, blah blah. She's fine. They're checking her vitals. So you lied? No, I just accelerated the drama. It worked. You showed up, didn't you? I stared at her. You know what's worse than being manipulated? Being manipulated badly. Alyssa rolled her eyes. Come on, Mason. She's trying. She brought you into this world. Yeah, I said. And she nearly kicked me out of it. With a trash bag. She sighed and leaned back like she was the exhausted one. We can't change the past. You're right, I said. But you can stop copy-pasting it. I turned to leave, but she grabbed my arm. Wait. Just talk to her. For 5 minutes. Please. She said something about giving you part of Dad's pension. I froze. There it was. The real emergency. Not health. Not reconciliation. Inheritance leverage. Let me guess, I said. She wants me to take her in, she gets to play grandma, maybe cash in on a cozy retirement in my guest room? It's not like that, Alyssa muttered. Okay, maybe a little like that. I laughed. The sound surprised even me, loud, bitter, but freeing. You know what? Tell her this. I've got something better than her share of Dad's pension. What? She asked. Peace. I left the hospital without another word, without looking back. On the drive home, my phone buzzed again. Same block number. This time I replied. You kicked me out at 18 with a trash bag and zero plan. 15 years later, you don't get to knock on the door and act like nothing happened. I'm not your backup plan. I'm your consequence. I didn't hear from them for 3 days. 3 beautiful, uninterrupted days. No blocked numbers. No. Just wanted to see how you're doing. Guilt texts. No fake emergencies. Just peace. I'd nearly forgotten what silence without tension tasted like. It was glorious. Like biting into the first fry of the batch when no one's looking. Then, Facebook happened. I'd posted a photo of the diner's new patio seating, some string lights, a few picnic tables, and Joe holding up a triple-decker burger like it was the crown jewels. The caption? Invest in comfort. For your guests, and for yourself. Wholesome. Harmless. Until Aunt Sharon, the same aunt who once told me I gave the family anxiety, popped in with, "Your mom showed me your page. She says she's hoping to reconnect soon, pleading face yellow heart, so proud of you." Ma'am. You were team. He's always been dramatic. Just 5 years ago. I stared at the comment for a solid minute before typing my reply. No name-calling. No full-blown roast. Just precision. Thanks, Aunt Sharon. Unfortunately, reconnecting isn't possible when the bridge was torched, the ashes mailed to me, and I was billed for postage. Immediate reactions. 5 flush face emojis. 2 fire reacts. Joe texted me from the back. Did you just emotionally subtweet your mom in 4K? Yes, Joe. Yes, I did. But I wasn't done. Because sometimes healing comes through journaling. And sometimes it comes through Canva. I found the old photo, the one I took on my flip phone, of the trash bag sitting on the curb next to my duffel bag on my 18th birthday. Blurry. Crooked. Sad. Then I added 2 lines in white bold text. This was my birthday gift at 18. 15 years later, they asked to stay in my guest room. No tags. No names. Just vibes. And I didn't even post it on my main feed, I uploaded it to the diner's story. It stayed up for 24 hours. Within 2, it had more views than our entire burger launch. I got DMs from regulars. One said, "Bro, I knew your mom was weird. She tried to pray over the ketchup." Another wrote, "That post? Brutal. Also, I'm ordering 3 of those burgers today." But the best message came from someone I hadn't spoken to in a decade. "Hey, Mason. Just saw your post. Didn't realize you were that Mason. I'm head of development at Lincoln Housing. Ever thought about opening a second location?" I froze. A second location? Lincoln Housing had contracts all over the city. If I landed one corner space in one of their developments? That wasn't just growth. That was scale. I replied instantly. "Let's talk." And then I just sat there. In the diner's office. Door half open. Fryer humming softly in the distance. Watching a version of myself I used to dream about slowly become real. I walked out front to check the tables. Joe was reloading salt shakers and humming something off-key. I grabbed a rag and helped, wordless for a bit. "You know," she said, "some people post thirst traps. You post generational trauma and get real estate offers. I'm a trailblazer." I deadpanned. We laughed. And I realized I wasn't angry anymore. Not bitter. Not simmering. Not even waiting for the next passive-aggressive olive branch. I was just done. Before I left that night, I changed the chalkboard outside. The same one people passed on the sidewalk every day. I wrote, "Survive first. Then serve pancakes." And underneath, in smaller letters, "No guests without reservations." I thought that was the end. The Facebook post, the chalkboard quote, the job offer, it felt like the perfect full stop to a messy, decade-long chapter. And for a while it was. Until the voicemail. It came late. I was doing inventory in the back office, listening to Joe argue with a pickle supplier over the phone. "No, Gary, I said crinkle cut, not crinkle energy." When my phone lit up with a notification, one new voicemail from unknown number. I almost ignored it. But curiosity's a punk. I pressed play. "Mason. It's your mom. I saw your post. Your little display. If you think publicly embarrassing me makes you better, you're wrong. You've always been dramatic. Always made everything about you." Click. I stopped it right there. Didn't even finish. Because it was the same tape she's played since I was 12. And I realized in that moment, she never changed. She didn't want reconciliation. She wanted access. She wanted a seat at a table she didn't help build, next to a son she tried to erase when he no longer fit her version of acceptable. So I blocked the number. Then I did one last thing. I went to my photos. Found that same image of the trash bag. The original one. No edits. No text. And I sent it. Not to her. But to myself. With the caption, "This is where we started. Not where we end." Because for the first time in my life, I didn't need revenge. Or an apology. Or even closure. I just needed to remember who I was, and who I wasn't anymore. Now, I wake up early. I open the diner with Joe. We joke about fries and fight about music playlists. I've got my eye on a second location and a business partner who actually believes in things like boundaries and brisket. And my mom? She's just a story now. One I survived. One I outgrew. But never one I'll rewrite. And when people ask why I don't speak to my family, I just smile and say, they made me strong. I made myself whole.